right, we're whittling away our players to get down to that 53-man roster. That's going to be the team that rides through the season and add in several guys' injuries happens, of course. But you know what I mean, to make this critical 2023 season happen. So we're in the process. 15 guys have been whittled away. Got to cut a bunch more by like 4 p.m.-ish tomorrow. So I'm going to cover the cuts. I think there's some interesting cuts there. I'm going to cover that today. And then some reports have come out for some reps about the Jonathan Taylor situation. And if the reports are right, I just don't see how we can keep this guy from a feasibility standpoint. So I'm going to cover that as well. And I'm also going to cover the Sieler thing. I love the fact that we signed Zach Sieler. It's great, great news for so many reasons. So those are going to be the 3 stories I'm going to cover today. I had a Jackson film ready to go today. Some people watched one of my shorts, and they really disagreed a little bit with me with the Jackson evaluation I gave. I originally intended to do the entire offensive line, but I really had a question, myself when people I respect say, hey, I disagree with your evaluation, your standpoint. I go back and check everything. You could be like, a bum on the street. Now I'm going to think about it. But obviously, when you're higher up on the hierarchy there, I even do it quicker. So, but I'm going to have that for tomorrow. I wanted to cover this today, so that'll be out tomorrow. And then I'm going away. I haven't been home to my hometown, seen my hometown people in a long, long time. So I'm going for the holiday. I'm going to be away for a couple of days. So I'm probably going to have 1 or 2 more podcasts. In a couple of days, I'm going to be silent. And then you get a rest from the monkey a little bit. And then I'll be back on Tuesday to prep for this awesome season. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So I'll probably have this one today and then the Jackson one tomorrow and maybe another one a couple of days from now, just FYI with cool talk. So that's the whole deal. So I want to get into the positive stuff because I love positive stuff, even though sometimes people don't think that. But Sieler, these guys are just like digital simulations on the TV, and that's what you're watching. And, occasionally you go to the games and you watch them from a distance at the games. Maybe occasionally you meet them at a signing or anything. But really, you don't have any real connection with these people. Yet they get into your heart, some of these guys, and you hate to see them leave. And when one of these guys that are awesome sticks and he gets a long-term deal and he's going to be with you for a long period of time, it just feels great. And Zach Sieler is one of those guys. He's everything you want from a player, everything you want from a Dolphin, and from everything you hear is like, he's a great guy. So this is just an awesome signing. And the deal, we got him on a deal. It was like a song and a dance. It ended up being about like 3 years, 38 something, like 13 a year, which to me, I thought he'd get a lot more, but it is a steal for us. I think that he realized he was 29. He had his roots here in Miami and, played through the season. He could damage his knee and then the money goes up in smoke. So this was a way to lock in and set him and his family up for a couple of lifetimes. Maybe takes it a little bit off the top, but it guarantees because this is probably going to be his last contract. Maybe 1 or 2 years after that if he's lucky. So I think, he took a little off the top and we got a little bit. And given our cap situation, this is great news. It really helps us to get this hometown discount. And it's great that he's now set, forever, unless, whatever. He just likes throwing money out the door. It's like 20 million guaranteed or something like that. But when you look at our cap situation, I've been saying it for a while. It's starting to heat up now that the cap is real. It was like, don't worry about it. And now it's kind of becoming a thing. But after his signing, it's going to change, but the money is the money. Right now, Sporadic has us 23rd least cap space at negative 21 million. It's going to get pushed back and moved around. We all know that. But that money's got to go someplace. It just doesn't go to money heaven. And then next year, if you factor in the Wilkins tag, which is 21, 22 million, which is looking like where it's going to go, we're minus 41. So it's minus 68 between this year and last year. And so that money that's real tight, guys. So him coming in on a deal, which really probably was a couple $1 million less than what maybe he could have gotten if he played it out, it adds a couple of players to us, and it's a key amount of money. So it's great, great news. But this cap thing is lurking, guys. It's legit, It really is legit. Now, I like Sieler a ton. I've been writing for Finn's News for a while, a little less now than I used to. But when we made that waiver wire transaction, I was like, this guy's like interesting. There's something intriguing about this guy. And we only got him because the Ravens were making a push to the playoffs. They got an injury at center, and they needed a center because they were making a playoff push. So they put him on the waiver wire, figured he'd come back to them. And Chris Greer, the Dolphins, whoever it was, Flores, I don't know, whatever, Dolphins, pulled him off the waiver wire, and I know the Ravens like, ah, and it was a steal of steals. We got lucky that he was there, and we were smart to take him. So he's a great player. I love him to death, but for me, my guy is Christian Wilkins. And Christian Wilkins is the Batman to me, and he's the Robin. And it looks like right now there's going to be no deal for Wilkins. He's going to get the tag next year, and he's going to play it out, I guess, and go for the super money if he does well this year and next. But that's what it looks like it's going to be. At least now that Sieler's signed, and you got the tag definitely going to be going on Wilkins next year, unless it's some mind-blowing trade. We've got 2 years of Batman and Robin in the two most critical seasons that this franchise had since the flood. 23 is the high point season. I've been saying it for a while. And 24, depending on how we play our cards with the cap and the draft, is going to be there. It's going to be close, but it's going to be below it. And then 25 is like the nosedive. So these are the two critical seasons. And to have Sieler and to have Wilkins together, even if it's only for those 2 years, it's awesome, awesome, awesome news. This is great news because it's 23 and 24. These are the peak years. And so I don't know what the future holds with Wilkins, but 2 years with these two guys is phenomenal news. Now with the cap thing, I'm going to tie it into the Taylor thing. Before I do that, I want to say thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all you guys do. This YouTube whole thing goes by the likes, the subscribes, the comments, and the views. The algorithm, Genie loves that stuff. And you guys are making it happen. So I appreciate if you keep up with the likes, the subscribes, the comments, and the views, and the thumbs up, and the whole thing. And if you sub, click the notification bell, and then the light will go on when a monkey does his thing and rings his bell, and then you'll know I'm doing my thing. And anyway, so guys, I really do appreciate it. I don't like the sales thing, but it is essential. You guys are the fuel to make the channel go. So I appreciate that. So I want to give you a shout out, and a shout out to Ace Per Head, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so I already said we're minus 21 this year and minus 47 next year with the Sieler signing and an expected tag. But some reps have been coming out saying that Taylor's looking to push the $14 to $15 million per season salary. And that's crazy money. That's big money. I'm not saying the running backs don't deserve it. I'm not saying that. But it's a lot of money for a position that guys can go down. And, look what happened with the Rams a couple of years ago. And we are so tight. I just don't. There's the first hurdle of, hey, Colts, we want Taylor. We're going to give you this. And then to go, oh, okay, we like that. That's one hurdle. But then the next hurdle is, okay, Taylor, we're going to send you to the Miami. He says, no, I want my money. I want a new deal. And, he's going to say, I want 14 to 15 million, or I want 12 to 13, or whatever. Miami has to agree to that for him, or he's going to come here and do the same thing, and we'll be out picks. So to me, the pick thing is one thing. We're tight on a cap. You send those picks, that's cheap rolls of the dice for talent. We could use those to help us with the cap situation. That's one thing. But then you add in the price factor on top at 31 next year for Hill, 22 for Wilkins, 24 for Chubb, and then you got to have to sign Tua and Waddle's coming up. And there's only so much money to go around. I just don't see how you can pay this guy even 11 or 12 a year and lock it in with what I see on the books. So I just don't think this guy is coming. And, some of the talk was, I forgot who it was, is that Taylor will put the Dolphins over the top. I don't think that's true. He's a good player and he will help us. He's going to definitely help us. He's a better version, an upgraded version of Mostert. And, it's Mostert if he was young and tough, more, he's upgraded the run back position big time. But the running backs table is set by the offensive line. And if you're going to spend that much money, then you've got to have the tools to make this guy successful. And I just don't think that the money spent, the trade pick spent, is going to be of equal value because the way we run the football and our ability. I know people are still saying we were like third or fourth best in preseason to run the football. We'll see. I just don't. When you look at the tape and you look at the blocks and you look at the history, that we're going to be able to run block the way people think. I think we're going to get the pop plays. We're going to have the leverage, and you run it. And if you get the right backs, then you pop it and you get those big plays, and it's those pop plays and then the frequency of the pop plays that creates your run game. And then that's good news. But you can get that with Mostert. You can get that with HN. You can get that with Ahmed. I don't think you need to spend 12 to 14 or 14 to 15 plus all those picks to get it. If we had a great offensive line that could run block, it'd be a different story. So I just don't see that. Now the roster cuts, I'm sure even as I'm doing it now, there'll be more people cutting. Say, why didn't you add this guy? Because I did it when it was what it was. So Malik Reed was cut. I was a little surprised. I thought he'd make it. But his display was this way. So maybe they'll bring him back later. It was a little surprising, but Van Ginkel, I think, is so good. He just kind of forced that out. Van Ginkel, Chubb, and Phillips is a great three-man combo. And maybe one of these young guys they like for a cheap guy to be that fourth guy is what they're going to go with. Josiah Bronson, Twyman. Now, Jalen Twyman, out from 3 yards per carry, was talking about how he really liked him. And I was like, I think Peely. And, I went back and studied it. Twyman played really well. And I think in some ways he outplayed Peely. And I would say just on production, it's surprising he got cut. Now the difference, Twyman is 6'2" and 299, where Peely is, 315, 6'3", 6'4", I think. He's a pretty big guy. And so I think the potential, even though the production was a little bit underneath, the potential took it over. But Twyman was a darn nice player for us, and we might be able to bring him back. And I would like that to see this guy in a practice squad. I thought he played pretty well. Now, Kedron Smith, he was doing really well at safety. He got cut, and that was a little bit, I'm not a surprise. I think he's going to go to the practice squad. I think a lot of people thought that, but he flashed, and then he kind of flattened out. Kid's got a lot of talent, big kid, made some nice plays. I think he needs to go back in the oven. Hopefully we can pull him back onto the practice squad. And then John Love at the fullback. We all knew he was going to go. I mean, you're not going to keep Lovett and Ingold. Ingold is clearly the guy they plan going forward. And so those are the young guys that get cut. It'll be interesting to see. There's plenty more that need to be cut. Are we going to see Hayes get cut? Who's going to get cut? Is it going to be some big surprise cuts? Chosen going to make the roster. I think he's going to. So Carcraft, there's guys that will be interesting. That was probably going to come later on tonight and tomorrow. I think what some of these teams want to do is they put their better cuts later on, and then hopefully some teams, they pick up some other guys' cuts, and then they're like, I just got this guy, I'm not going to die. So it gives you a little better chance to bring them back. So that's really the whole deal on the cuts. This 53-man roster is going to be very, very interesting. I think there's going to be some very interesting cuts. I'm going to wait to see how it plays out to talk about that. But that's the whole deal. I think the Taylor thing was never going to happen. I mean, just as I do that, Taylor signed, so it could happen, but I don't know how you'd fit the money. And just guys, hold on to Sieler is a great news. And I don't know, I want to kind of get him signed, but those snapping issues might be like, hey, you know what? We're going to tag Wilkins. We're going to sign Sieler long-term, and we'll keep Hunt, and then we'll find somebody else. I think that might end up being the way we end up going, because unless Connor gets that snapping issue down, I don't think we're going to want him. So that's it, guys. Anyway, catch up with you tomorrow. I got the film for Jackson's greatest hits, and then I'll finish up the cuts tomorrow. Guys, be well. Catch you soon. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with acebread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.